it's a great safety net. You have pretty good flexibility with a hero. It does a lot of damage early on in the laning phase. It scales nicely into the late game. It has lots of utility with its kit. So it's a great pick from TNC. Still wondering how they close out their draft though. It's it's a draft I haven't seen really come out like this. I mean, these are all heroes we've seen one or another at some point, but in this specific lineup, I don't think we've seen this one in a while.
I mean, the thing is, though, John, the main problem I have, and this is actually not with TNC, but rather Unknown, right? You've got this PA that's going to be able to speed up her farm so much thanks to that Empower. She's going to be able to rush Deso BKB pretty darn quick, I imagine. Once that BKB's up, I don't see a way to deal with her anymore. Like, it seems like she's just going to have free reign until that BKB wears out at least. And now there's a Venomancer in the game, John. I don't know what TNC's up to, but I'm excited to find out.
I mean, it really ties into your draft quite well. It gives them a lot of deep damage over time. Gives them a lot of ways of really just forcing Unknown to rethink about these fights. It gives them great push. You've got the NP, you've got the Venomancer. Lanes are not going to be holding up if you apply that pressure early on. I like seeing this come out. In most cases, I really feel a bit underwhelmed by the Venomancer. In this case, I think it does fit their draft in, mainly because TNC's first 4 picks are so darn strong that for me, the Venomancer is almost a non-factor. It does sweeten this draft up, but it doesn't really drag it down in any way. Like, if the Venomancer doesn't hit its timings, you're not going to be any worse off for it. You have a really solid set of 4 heroes that can force these team fights out, force pressure on the map. The Venomancer is going to have a really early power spike, as we tend to see. It will taper off if the game goes too long, but I don't think that's going to be a major issue. Unknown, they close out their draft with Gyro. So they've done this before. They pick the Gyro last. They go with something Jug early on in the lineup to maybe cause some slight confusion on the enemy team. I have to say, this kind of closer from Unknown leaves me a bit concerned. Gyrocopter and Jug do require fair bits of farm among these 2 heroes, and even the Tidehunter himself does clear out camps by himself. You know, it requires a lot of EXP to be truly effective. With the rate this lineup takes to come online, and you compare that to TNC's lineup, Venomancer just has natural power spikes from his levels. I mean, the PA probably requires a bit of farm, fair enough. Magnus as well is going to need a Blink as a support, not the easiest thing to farm up. But Unknown, there was a vulnerability in TNC's draft you could have exploited with something like the Gyro Jog. It does feel like they're slowing down their game a bit too much to maximize that.
I mean, when I look at this draft, John, up for Unknown, I feel like Prada's got his work really cut out for him on the Coddle. Especially with the stacking that's going to be necessary, right? I mean, the Coddle can stack 3 camps at once on the Dire side, so there's that. But it feels like he's going to have to get those jungle stacks up pretty darn quick for this Gyro and this Tidehunter and the Jug, for that matter. Like you've already pointed out, I do agree there's going to be probably a lot of issues with how you spread this gold around on the side of Unknown, where TNC's much more kind of just run at you and just try and fight when they can. And I suppose we'll see how it all pans out. I mean, if Unknown can find the farm, it certainly could go their way, but we'll have to wait, because TNC is one of those teams that it can be very, very scary to go up against, and I'm sure Unknown are well aware of this, as we will get into this game. May the light. That's nice. And as well as that, I kind of wonder how you lane these heroes if you are Unknown. Looks like Greedy will be in the off lane as the Tide, of course, and Widge will be behind him as the laner. So fair enough. You've got some sort of magic damage to deal with this PA. Of course, the right clicks are quite annoying from the laner as well early on, because she's got such a massive range. How much do you see them really slowing down Gabby?
I can see this dual lane working out really well. The issue is, PA is not the greatest lane in the world, especially in that safe lane. I'd say it has a better time down mid. Overall, in 1v1, that's the ideal situation for PA. The main issue for TNC is that PA's laning partner is going to be March and Magnus. Now, it really depends on what he picks up level 1. Is he going to go for that early skewer to try to drag someone behind the tower? Because that can be a bit unreliable. The shockwave is a bit rough as well, mainly because you're going to be possibly clearing out a creep wave, so it can cause your lane to shove in a bit. It really depends on how they position it. Down to that, I'd say it's easier for unknown to really execute that dual lane and slow down that PA.
Absolutely. See how it all pans out. The banner runes are about to spawn up. You can already see those little trains getting in there, getting greedy, a bit annoyed. That Tide Hunter, nice skill back from March as well. He will grab the bounty. It'll be a 2-for-2 trade. Nothing too special going on there. Widge is going to be chased down as well by Gabby. It's going to be a little bit of harassment, but he does get the LSA out. Well, they're not actually going to stop. The dagger flies out again. They're just going to continue going in. The trees do expire, though, and that'll be enough of that. Gabby now going to get punished as well. In fact, LSA connects. It's going to be a lot of damage on Gabby. He does have a salve ready to go, but he's going to be careful not to die here. Trees are still behind Widge, though, and Tims is still chasing Gabby. He'll salve up straight away and jukes him around. Now Widge, he's going to be in trouble. He'll salve up as well. They won't cancel it off quite yet. The Lena's still alive, and dagger's flying out. Widge, he's so darn low on this Lena. He's been surrounded. Gabby's found him. It looks like he should die, but no. He'll fairy fire up. He's tangoed up, and it looks like Gabby does not want to waste any more time chasing, and he will get back to farming.
Yeah, that's a pretty aggressive early on trade. In fact, they're still going.
Yeah, they certainly are. Tims falls very, very low. Greedy will make sure he can't chase, and Widge, well, he's still being chased by Treants. We'll have a quick look at the other lanes while we have a chance, John, because I'm sure this bottom lane is not going to stop anytime soon. We do have a Tun up against Armel in the mid lane, so they did end up putting the Jug mid up against that Kunkka, but that certainly is not going to be a very easy lane for the Jug either.
Yeah, it definitely isn't. You are seeing a Tun. He's forced to use his salve already, so that gives Armel a bit of an advantage here. Gonna have a harder time to sustain this lane until at least you get a level of healing ward on a Tun.
Yeah. Of course, top lane, you'll see March and Prada just trading right clicks right now. Burner is there on the Gyro, KP on the Veno. And both are basically just trading farm right now. No real harassment coming out from either side on this off lane of TNC. Back down to that bot lane. Tim's going to cop an LSA. He'll be okay though. Looks like they've just kind of set to trading farm right now as well. They've had enough of fighting each other like crazy. Give each other a bit of a break, as they both really have hardly any regen left. I suppose this kind of works for both parties, because both the Tide and the PA want farm. Though as I say that, Tims gets jumped on. He's falling very, very low, greedy. One more right click, and it looks like Widge will find it. Selena will find first blood and continues the harassment out onto Gabby. An unknown so far making this offlane work. In fact, Gabby falling low. Gush will come out as well. He's still not going to be chased down. They won't go underneath that tier 1 tower quite yet, but they know he doesn't have a salve available. Tims, however, may have brought one out, and he does.
It's just a really active lane from both sides. You are seeing the effects of minus armor at really great effect here. I mean, that once that Gush comes out with the LSA, really easy to apply the damage onto any hero that does get caught out, and it's really easy to punish. You have a lot of poke potential with Atlena, really long range. They are exploiting that to its fullest effect. Gabby is still finding some farm, but it's certainly not as easy as you'd want.
Of course, looking back to that mid lane, looks like Armel is having the pretty damn good time. Top of the last hit support at 23-1. Atun isn't too far behind though on the Jug. He's 21 last hits right now, 2-9. So basically both sides just trading farm. Armel has no regen left on the Kunkka, but Atun, I mean, he has a bottle, but that's really all he's got going for him. We'll try to go for that top rune spot now, see if he finds a power rune, and he will not get lucky. It will be down at the bot lane, where Widge is already setting up to protect that double damage, but here comes March, or rather Tims, and Tims will cancel the teleportation off. And so the Lena now will have the double damage on her instead.
Doesn't have the mana to really apply too much harass now though. 2 charges on that stick. Might give enough for 1 spell, but not much more, unfortunately.
Looking over mid lane, the Jug does fall very low, but he does have the healing water, but the illusion from Armel does end up finding it. Bit unfortunate he didn't get the full value out of that healing ward. Now Mel, realizing he has an opening, will start harassing a Toon X into the torrent, but it will be spun off. Mel doesn't have level 6 quite yet, so he can't really afford to throw out the boat, but it looks like he's more than happy with this lane control. And I just don't see what the Jug can do about this. He's got an empty bottle and he's got no healing water available.
Yeah, there's really not much you can expect from this here at this point. It's just really hard. You don't really have the space to rotate in the supports as well. So you're just kind of stuck in an unfavorable lane. This could cause a Toon to dip into that jungle early on, which he really has to if he wants to get that significant farm that this greedy lineup has to have. All three cores need a lot of gold to really get going.
Yeah, they certainly do. I mean, Burner's trying his best to farm up the top lane. Currently third in terms of last hits on the graph. He has definitely outfarmed KP on the Venomancer, but that's kind of to be expected. As KP will rotate into the jungle and just get a pull going, but we'll see Burner once again come in, clear that out as well, just take as much as he can away from the Veno. And he's going to need to get that farm up real quick, because again, you look at Armel on that Kunkka, and he's getting still everything he wants. He's got stacks going as well, and once he clears those stacks, it's going to be a hell of a lot of gold going out for him. It looks like that's exactly what he intends to do. I mean, I thought they may leave it for the PA, but Armel seems to believe he deserves it more.
Yeah, I don't blame them. The Kunkka definitely has much more power early on if you give him the gold, so Armel will be making the space for the PA to find that farm. Besides that, you don't really have a level in... I mean, you just got a level in the power now from March, so you couldn't really clear it anyway.
Yeah, meanwhile, March will just take over the mid lane. Top lane, though, they will end up losing KP on the Venom, but Armel trying to go onto Wish on this Lina. The boat will connect, and he actually finds the gyro as well, but he'll leave him be. He is quite low on HP. A 1-for-1 trade, but Unknown certainly find the better trade in the end.
Definitely so. Support for an offlaner, not the biggest loss in the world. Very nice pick off to get. You have your gyrocopter around to really clean that off as well. So you are starting to build up here for Unknown. You have a slight kill advantage. You are finding what you want from these lanes, and you somehow aren't being punished too hard for your greed. If they can keep this up, they certainly will be able to get that space to get their cores online. I'd say 15 minutes at this point. By the 15-minute mark, if you're not seeing the pressure from TNC, that could be a bad sign for them, and, you know, that's a great sign for Unknown.
Yeah, I mean, every time I look at Burner, just farming up stacks over and over again, doing a great job of it as well. Of course, looking back over to Gabby on the PA, third in net worth right now, 7.5 minute mark. They haven't really given him the empower yet. He's just been farming up in the lane. It's going to be very annoying though. You've got this Coddle just spamming Blinding Light over and over again. It's just quite infuriating to have to go up against. Top lane though, Armel is going to find another kill onto this Lina. Nice little rotation from the Kunkka. He hadn't even left the jungle. He just went straight back to the jungle, cleared out more creep stacks, and then just went back up to the top lane, found another kill, and now they're going to go after that tier 1 top tower.
Yeah, it's going to be a really scary thing if you lose this towers early on. That's the one thing TNC's lineup does allow them to do. They can push much harder with a Venomancer and the Nature's Prophet, and while that push is happening, you do give space to March to get his farm up. He's got that middle lane to himself now, and that just allows your really greedy pause 5 mag to just find what he needs.
Oh, Gabby. They do end up finding a kill onto Greedy on that Tidehunter. Armel's the one to pick that one up. While all that was happening, KP does end up claiming that tier 1. There was absolutely no defense coming in from the side of Unknown. And this is that point where TNC, I mean, they're getting scary. Like you mentioned, Armel, he found that his power curve was just better than the PA, took the stacks, and now he's kind of uncontrollable. I mean, I just don't see a way to kill this Kunkka right now.
Yeah, there's no easy way to clear out that hero. It does require maybe something like Widge getting his level 6, but as a support Lina, you're not going to get there very fast. Still stuck at level 4, you're not going to have that burst potential to slow down the PA or that Kunkka, and that just means you can't really take these big fights just yet.
Things will remain slow in this game as 9.5 minutes in, 3-2 for the side of TNC. Just more than happy to just remain in these lanes and unknown, doing the exact same. Looks like bot lane, they are going to try and apply some pressure towards that tier 1 tower, but you've got KP there, he's spamming the Veno wards. Even just with those wards early on, it's very, very hard to contest going after a tier 1. They would at least find both bot bounty runes for the side of Unknown, but TNC will do the exact same thing up at the top lane, so it will be an even trade. In fact, they may end up finding this laner again, though which he will go ahead and TP straight away, and he does manage to get out just in the nick of time.
Yeah, a bit scary there, still. You know, you don't lose that support at the very least. That greed does kind of pay off. Widge does hit his level 6. So you've got that Laguna Blade up now. That's a major power spike for Unknown. If they want to force a smoke out, they can certainly find one easy pickoff every single time that spell is up now.
Certainly can. And Prada, he does have a smoke available, ready to go. I imagine they will use it right now with the Tun, and that's exactly what they do. Straight down to that bot lane, try to get rid of KP and find that tier 1 tower, as we are almost 11 minutes in and they still haven't found it for the side of Unknown. They've just got to find their way in. They've got to hit that stun from the Lina. Of course, you've got the Ravage set up as well, but you'd rather keep it ready to go. Tim's, though, going to jump straight onto Greedy. Now, remember, he does have the Ravage. He does have the mana as well, and he will commit it straight away. Now, Atun, he comes in. Omni is available. There's the Will-O-Wisp as well. KP falling very low and does go down. Now the Laguna onto Tim's. Blinding Light knocks him back, and they find another. Great setup there from the side of Unknown. They do find two very important pickups, and that should lead to that tier 1.
Yeah, that should allow them to put some pressure onto this tier 1. The issue is they've lost their mid tier 1 in that process, and that's a lot more control going away from Unknown, even if they get this bot tier 1. It's just so much more important, that mid, compared to that bot, and you do have heroes respawning now, you have the TPs up, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, I mean, March has got his RP available as well, don't forget, so you've always got to be a bit afraid of that. Of course, he only has level 1 skewer to set up with, but still a very scary spell to be up against. And Unknown, they understand this, they back off, back to farming for them. TNC will just go ahead and start pushing the bot tier 1 now. Mind you, Unknown did not find the tier 1 bot tower themselves. So TNC looking to take their third tier 1 of the game. It looks like they might find Widge as well, and Armel setting up with the X into the boat. Another nice pickup from this Kunkka. It'll be his fourth one of the game. And that's going to be the third tier 1 tower going down for TNC.
Yeah, this is... It's hard for Unknown to take these fights after they pop the Ravage. You know, even if you had every single other spell up, without that Ravage or the Will-O-Wisp, you really can't counterfight too well. Whereas TNC, their longest cooldown is probably that RP, and we haven't even seen it come out from March yet.
Having a look at Gabby on that PA, John, just going straight for Burner on that gyrocopter. Burner will manage to walk away. He just threw out the homing missile, and Gabby didn't want to deal with that. Gabby, though, does have the Desolator up now, and is going straight into that BKB next. With this Empower and Deso up, they can definitely go for more teamfights if they wish. But Gabby could also just play this safe, just get the BKB first, and then ensure you basically win every teamfight. And it looks like that is exactly the plan for him.
Yeah, I don't blame Gabby for this at all. I don't blame TNC for this. Their weakest moment is while that PA doesn't have any sort of magic immunity. Once that's up, you take care of the Lina's burst damage. You don't really have the physical to burn down the PA at this point. I mean, you're not going to have an MKB up on the gyrocopter or the jug anytime soon. So it's just best to wait it out here. TNC can take their time, take as long as possible. They are still finding that map control as well. And Unknown, they have to try to play this farm game, but their map is slowly shrinking.
Also interesting to note, John, I'm just having a quick look at the gyrocopter build. Burner, he's going straight into an Aghanim Scepter rush, and there it is. And after that, it looks like he wants the Maelstrom, which is fair enough, but feels like it's been a while since we've seen a gyrocopter rush Aghanim Scepter.
It certainly does feel like it's been a while. They do use their smoke to Gabby.
Ooh, the Will-O-Wisp being dropped, but he just blinks out of there. there is about a second delay between that first Will-O-Wisp tick, and he just walked out. I mean, he literally just pressed the blink button.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. They expended the smoke, they expended one big spell. At the very least, they still have a Ravage, so they can make use of that if they want. While that Will-O-Wisp is down, they still have one bit of control.
Look at Armel though on the Kunkka. Gonna run straight into Prada, and that is over half his HP gone. And Armel throws the boat in, the X there as well, and that's it. He's gone. And it's just going to be terrible for the Lina and the Coddle, John. They just lose over half their HP in one strike.
Yeah, it's not going to be fun. This build from Armel, going for that Shadow Blade, you know, it's not the most common nowadays. There is a lot of utility for it here that is going to force Unknown to spend a lot more on sentries, and they really have. If you take a look at that map, they've got a lot of sentries down, along with some pretty defensive wards. Just unfortunate that it didn't catch Armel out, cost you a support. Your supports will be pretty drained now with how the Kunkka will be playing.
And Armel, he's just going to go for it again. And this time around, I mean, you'd imagine he'd hit a sentry ward. In fact, he'll just go ahead and clear out the creep wave and just back off again. Looks like Unknown are starting to try and take over their jungle once again. Getting those D wards out. TNC will understand that is Q to leave, at least for a bit. Or perhaps it's Q to go in, as March is setting up with Gabby, but looks like they will just grab the Arcane Rune and go back to farming. As he is only a BKB recipe away now from that full BKB being completed. So why even force the issue if you could just wait another minute or so?
Definitely.
I mean, Unknown are just being choked out as well. Like, you look at the map, John, all the lanes are being pushed in. They are getting no space whatsoever.
They definitely are. And we were talking about that Vision game earlier. I want you to take a look at March, Mike. He has 7 sentry wards.
My goodness.
Just to make sure this map is shut out.
Well, John, just remind me to add March after this game. I need a good support like this. I mean, my supports don't know what wards are. Gabby being chased down. Be alright though, again blinking out. March still has the RP if necessary. You've also got that Poison Nova available on KP. He does have 19 one charges if he does require the mana urgently. But again, we just see TNC just split pushing. They'll find a tier 2 tower thanks to Armel. Now you've got the BKB up and available on Gabby, and not to mention he's level 15 already. And there's an 8k net worth lead on TNC 17 minutes into this game.
Yeah, that's really rough for Unknown. They've lost a lot of space. They still need to farm up on their cores. We haven't seen that big team fight come out yet from either side. But map control is slipping away here for Unknown. They need to make something happen. The Roche is going to be taken now. Are they aware of it? They should be. They should be able to contest this one. It's a tight spot. They've got the Tidehunter. They can make things happen here.
Look at March though, X'd up, just going in, getting vision. The Roshan's so darn low. They've got to jump in now, but Greedy does not have a blink to initiate. They could try dropping the Will-O-Wisp, but it looks like Prada is going to attempt it. In fact, he'll go for the Illuminate, try to scout out. He does actually find the Roshan kill. So there's that. You get a bit of gold, but now Gabby jumps in with the BKB chance straight onto that gyro, and there's nothing Burner can do. He goes down. The rest of Unknown just want to get the hell out of there, but Gabby is not allowing it. Wiz tries to go for an LSA, but the BKB was still up. Gabby will find a double, still has the Aegis, still has full HP. And it looks like they'll go straight after that mid-tier 2 tower now.
This is really the biggest issue for Unknown. They just cannot take these fights. If they do take these fights, they have to commit hard. You have to throw all the spells you can out. You have to really coordinate well. It's been a staggered response so far, and TNC has been splitting up this team quite nicely. They've been really forcing the control all over the map, forcing supports to go out to shove a lane in while fights breaking out. Not the ideal situation to try to counterfight, but Unknown is just caught between a rock and a hard place right now.
Yeah, they certainly are. Still though, props to the Coddle, finding that Roshan kill. That's a little bit of a bonus in terms of gold, but not nearly enough, that's for sure. Looks like Gabby will find Prada once again. Speaking of the Coddle, does go down, Gabby just crits him, and he just disappears. They're just looking for more kills. I mean, TNC just taking over the dire side jungle, setting up for that bot tier 2 tower as well. And Unknown, there's just no way for them to defend this. Once the creep wave is near that tier 2 tower, I mean, again, you don't have a way to break the distance with that Tidehunter yet. And it looks like TNC are on the hunt once again. Armel, Shadowbladed up, running through the dire side jungle, straight towards Burner on that gyro, who is currently all alone. And Armel gonna set up, has the X Gabby, he'll jump in as well. The cooldown is there, but Burner has no help around him, and he is going down.
Oh, it's rough. Unknown, they're trying to get the most out of this map. They're trying to split farm up between all their cores. It hasn't really been paying off quite yet. 11k deficit now in favor of TNC. 9-4, 20 minutes in. Just one outer tower left for Unknown. Once they lose that tier 2 down bot, their high ground is going to be very easy pickings. They do have great high ground defense because of their teamfight potential, but they will lose a lot of potential farm from losing all that control.
When X on Greedy, Armel is kind of by himself and there's 4 unknown heroes around, but it looks like they just aren't ready to initiate, and Greedy just gets jumped on now by Gabby. Almost dead. Does he commit the Ravage? He does not. He has buyback available. It looks like he'll hold on to that and just hope that TNC don't go to the high ground yet. Gabby certainly looked like he thought about it, but it's not so easy up against a Coddle and a Gyrocopter. And so they will return back down to that bot lane where KP has slowly been pushing out the creep wave. They'll go after that last tier 2 tower for the side of Unknown.
The biggest issue with the Tidehunter there was a lot of patience coming out from Gabby. He waited for the Anchor Smash to come out first before jumping in. That just made sure that he got that kill quite fast. And it's unfortunate. He was forced to use that Anchor Smash to deter him. But when Gabby came in, it really didn't matter because he didn't hit him with that Anchor Smash.
Oh, Gabby. Next up, Dagger. Wish gets crit straight away. 800 damage. Gabby jumping in for more. We'll back off. That is a very, very scary PA. He does have a basher up now as well, and Wish is going to be the target. LSA, it will not land. The BKB was there just in the nick of time. Gabby finds 1 kill on the Lina. There is buyback available, but it's not going to save them from this bot racks being taken. And now Prada going to get jumped on. There's the buyback. The blinding light will not help. He gets crit for 1.2k. Now they're going to try and chase and punish. Greedy has the Ravage. He needs to pop it onto this PA. There's help coming in there from TNC. BKB now out from Burner. It does wear out though. Now Gabby jumps back in straight into the Will-O-Wisp. He doesn't have BKB available. Poison Nova. There's the Ravage coming out from Greedy, but where's the follow-up damage? Omni Slash comes out. Laguna, they'll find, well, they won't actually find anybody. Gabby just jumps back in, and now the RP from March. They found 3 already. Tun's being chased down as well. The last coming out from this jug, but he's gone. And that's it. GG's been called 22.5 minutes in, and TNC looking like they're in form going into game 1 of the group stages of the MDL Major.
This is why TNC is one of the favorites of this group at the very least. They certainly show it. Definitely showed the difference in level here from Unknown. I mean, Unknown